Number 10. The Sydney River McDonald's Murders. On May 7, 1992, the unthinkable happened at a McDonald's restaurant at Sydney River, Nova Scotia. A trio of friends walked into the establishment with the intention of robbing it. Instead, they ended up murdering 3 people and disabling a 4th. It was one of the biggest high-profile murder cases in Canadian history at the time. What made it so crazy was how young these kids were, as well as the fact that one of them was an employee at the fast food restaurant. Derek Wood was an 18-year-old kid working at McDonald's. He and his 2 buddies, Freedom Daniel McNeil and Darren Muse, broke into the store after it was closed. They entered through a basement door that Derek had left slightly ajar earlier in the night. When they went in and discovered that there were 4 employees still inside, some kind of madness took over these boys. They murdered the 3 victims with a collection of terrifying weapons, including a .22 caliber pistol, a shovel handle, and knives. After they finished massacring everyone in the store, they made off with the cash. They had gone in expecting to find a huge payout of over $200,000. Instead, they got $2,017, which is definitely not worth killing people over. This crime was committed in a very rural town, in a small place in Canada most Canadians don't even know about. The location isn't even around anymore. It was demolished in 2000 and is currently an empty lot. These boys had no chance of getting away with the crime. It wasn't like they could just drive away and blend into the city. They were known by the community and by the people they slayed. All of them were given sentences of 20 years. Darren Muse was paroled in 2012, while Derek Woods' parole application was rejected in 2015. Number 9. Revenge slaying. At a McDonald's restaurant in Edmonton, North London, a 16-year-old catering student was brutally murdered in what authorities have described as a revenge execution killing. According to Judge Michael Coombe, Danny Westmacott was the victim of a vicious murder carried out via execution. The death of Danny started at a children's party in McDonald's. On the night of the murder, Danny and another teen got into a very silly argument. The other teenager, Noel Sales, didn't like the way Danny was looking at him and the girls he was with. The teenager wanted to be a tough guy. He called Danny out for really no other reason than to start a fight. But the bully lost the fight. Danny wrestled him to the ground and kicked him until Noel looked like he was going to cry. Noel, who was only 15, then phoned a friend and told them to bring a knife. Noel went out of the restaurant, met with 3 other friends, and then went straight back inside and started stabbing. He approached Danny from behind and stuck a knife in his back, killing him almost instantly. This tragedy goes to show that even if you win a fight, you often still lose. It's always better to avoid confrontations, especially with teenagers, at McDonald's. Number 8. Dead in the fridge. A worker at McDonald's was crushed to death. It happened in southern Poland at a McDonald's branch in the city of Ostrowiec Świętokrzyski. The woman's identity is not being given out for privacy reasons, but we do know how she was crushed. She had gone into the enormous walk-in refrigerator when a shelf full of products fell on her head. The entire shelf toppled over, taking the woman with it and crushing her small body as if someone had dropped an anvil on her. She wasn't discovered for a full 10 minutes until another worker opened the refrigerator and found her pinned beneath the shelf. Sadly, this woman lived her entire life, just over 3 decades, to perish on the floor of a McDonald's refrigerator. It sucked big time, and we still don't know how it happened. The restaurant was shut down and an investigation was launched, but we still don't know why the shelf fell. It looks like it was just one of those freak accidents, something you can't see coming. Number 7. Death by electrocution. In Belfast, Northern Ireland, a young student was electrocuted at a McDonald's while trying to use the bathroom. Sierra McGinley collapsed on the bathroom floor stone cold dead after she touched an exposed live wire on the hand dryer. She hit the button on the annoying hand dryer, and in return, it gave her an electric shock that she would never recover from. This was a tragic and rather bizarre accident. But what made it really despicable was that the owners of the particular restaurant franchise already knew there was a problem with the dryer and failed to act. There had already been at least 3 complaints about the hand dryer from people using the bathroom in the 2 weeks prior to the fatality. One of the complaints was made just hours before Sierra's death. If managers had listened and done something to fix the hand dryer, the young woman might still be alive today. Sierra was a language student at Queen's University in Belfast. Her death came just as she was out celebrating the end of her exams in June. The celebration brought Sierra and her friends for a late-night burger, and washing her hands ultimately cost the woman her life. Number 6. Toxic fumes. In Georgia, a senior citizen died after visiting the bathroom of a McDonald's restaurant. She was 80 years old. Besides her, 9 other people in the restaurant became sick. There was a carbon dioxide leak that nearly cost all these innocent people their very lives. The leak happened at a restaurant in Pooler. For anyone who knows anything about soda machines, you'll know that carbon dioxide is pushed through plastic tubing from a cylinder to the soda machines. When investigators looked at the restaurant, they found dangerously high levels of carbon dioxide leaking into the bathroom through the walls. But here's where things get really scary. According to Pooler Fire Chief Wade Simmons, similar leaks have occurred at other restaurants in other cities. Because the lines go through the walls and into the ceilings, it's not that unusual for one of them to leak fumes. In this case, all that happened was the bathroom got sealed while the investigation was ongoing. The restaurant wasn't even closed down, and this is despite the fact that 10 people were exposed to so much carbon dioxide that one of them dropped dead and the rest became violently sick. 3 of those 10 people were firefighters investigating the fumes. They themselves became sick and had to be sent to the hospital. What do you think should happen to a restaurant that is known for poisoning its customers with toxic carbon dioxide in the bathroom? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't already. Number 5. The ZHAOYUAN McDonald's cult murder. On May 28, 2014, tragedy struck at a McDonald's restaurant in ZHAOYUAN, China. A woman named Wu Shuan was sitting at a table inside the mall McDonald's waiting to meet her husband and their young son. As she was sitting there, a group of 6 people entered the restaurant. They claimed to be missionaries and ordered everybody to hand over their phone numbers. It was extremely bizarre. When they asked Wu for her number, she declined. The missionaries became so angry that they used mops to beat her. What began as a very strange day at McDonald's ended in a vicious killing. They continued beating the woman with mops, smashing her with a chair, and even stomping on her face and head. One of the attackers was quoted as screaming, "Die, evil spirit," while another warned other customers not to interfere, or they would die too. Nobody interfered, and Wu died from her injuries, but the attack was captured on camera, and every single one of the attackers were quickly arrested by the authorities. Chinese police said that they were members of a cultic organization known as the Church of Almighty God, or Eastern Lighting. When these murderers were taken to court, they showed no sign of remorse. They continuously called Wu a demon, saying they had no choice than to destroy her because she was evil. The Chinese government had already banned this organization from functioning. They were described as psychopaths and complete lunatics who had no business operating in society. The Chinese government had no problem putting 2 of the defendants to death by execution. In February 2015, the other defendants were given life in prison. Number 4. Rage in the drive-thru. In Jacksonville, a woman was shot dead in the drive-thru of McDonald's on Bay Meadows Road. It was horrific by every account. The woman was sitting in her car, minding her own business and ordering her food, when the assailant came creeping up around her vehicle. The guy leaned into her car and shot her at almost point-blank range. The bullet ripped apart her neck and head, and she bled and suffered for quite some time before eventually dying at the hospital. Why would somebody do such a horrendous thing? It was a disgruntled boyfriend. A man named Rashid Al-Karim was eventually tracked down by the police and arrested for murder. It took a jury no more than 90 minutes to find him guilty of first-degree premeditated murder. He had been stalking the victim, Jamie Marie Roque, and threatening to kill her for months. But the police could never do anything because Rashid hadn't actually done something actionable. But when he did do something, he did it big, with a bang. Now Jamie's dead, and he's behind bars, probably for life. Number 3. Too big of a bite. Darren Bray died while trying to eat a McDonald's cheeseburger. Darren, a father to 3 children, choked to death when he tried to consume the whole burger in just one mouthful. The 29-year-old had been showing off to his friends. They were on a night out, they got the munchies, and they went to the nearest McDonald's. Darren ordered a cheeseburger, then told his friends, "Watch this." He put the burger in his mouth and tried to swallow it. His friends laughed and howled. Then things turned grim. Darren went blue like a Smurf and started to choke. Nobody was sure what to do. These guys weren't exactly doctors. Darren's friends watched helplessly and horrified as he died. One of them tried to slap him on the back to clear his airway, but it didn't do any good. Darren was coughing, gurgling, and making noises that would give you nightmares. None of his friends had any idea how to perform the Heimlich maneuver, which very well could have saved his life. Instead, they all just stood around and waited for paramedics to arrive. When they got there, the paramedics performed CPR and tried to restart Darren's heart, but he was dead. The Cardiff Coroner's Court reported that Darren died from a blockage to his airway. So, let this be a lesson, folks. Please chew your food. Number 2. The McDonald's toilet. In Germany, a 48-year-old man went to get lunch at a McDonald's. He was a gas station attendant working across the street who loved himself a big, juicy burger for his midday snack. But this would be the very last snack he ever had. He went into the bathroom of the McDonald's and never came out again. The truly shocking thing is that nobody found his corpse until the next day. It was after lunch that his boss started asking staff at the McDonald's if anyone had seen him. He knew he went to get lunch and then never came back to work. And that was not like him at all. The McDonald's staff checked the surveillance footage. They found that he had entered the store, but never left. It was at about this time that everybody had figured out what happened. They crept into the bathroom, where they found a single cubicle with the door locked and a very bad smell coming from beyond. The man had gone to eat his lunch, became overwhelmed, and needed to use the bathroom, and died right there on the spot. We don't know the exact cause of death, but chances are pretty good that he had a heart attack. After all, he worked at a gas station and ate most of his lunches under the Golden Arches. And number 1, dead and unnoticed. In Hong Kong, a homeless woman entered a McDonald's very early on a Friday morning. She found herself a table in a dark corner near the bathroom and sat down. And there she stayed, unmoving, throughout the entire day. Nobody kicked her out or even really noticed her. Then at around 1:20 in the morning on Saturday, her head suddenly hit the table. That was when she died. But it looked like she was just sleeping. It took another 7 hours before somebody finally realized this woman had dropped dead. Customers were coming in and out of the restaurant, sitting at the table beside her, eating their food, and not realizing that they were dining with the dead. Police and paramedics finally came to remove the body at about 8:30 in the morning. They didn't find anything suspicious about her death. She was around the age of 60, with no belongings except a ratty old bag and a wallet with no identification or documents. Nobody even knows who this woman was or where she came from. Authorities figured she must have known that she was dying and came in from the street to sit down at a comfortable table and expire in peace. What's the most insane thing you've ever seen go down at a McDonald's? Let us know about it in the comments, and thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed the video, and make sure to check out more awesome stuff from the channel. See you next time.